Good morning, and today we're in Windmill Hills in Gateshead, and we're here to talk about that building behind me. It was built back in the 1870s, and it was a Victorian reform school, and it was mainly for the poorest children, who were most of them are put in by the magistrates either for begging in Gateshead or the parents were unfit because of crime or poverty, and they were rounded up and put in their school, and it was a very harsh, disciplined school for the kids. It only lasted about 20 years as a reform school. It was also Gateshead High's girls' school moved in late 1896. So we'll have a look around. So in the beginning it started in 1879 as a Victorian institute, and it was really a Windmill Hills Day industrial school. The industrial schools were products of their time, an attempt to solve the problem of the so-called street children. Children would be sent here by a magistrate for simply being found begging or having parents that were deemed unfit. Like I said before, the official purpose was to reform, educate and provide industrial training so they could one day work in the local pits or the factories. But while the school offered food and basic education, the reality was life of rigid discipline, stripping of childhood. Imagine being a kid taken from your family and forced into a system designed to break your spirit before you could be reformed. The days were long, the work was hard, and the atmosphere was one of punishment, not nurturing. The building was intended to intimidate as it loomed over the landscape. Standing here now looking up at the boarded windows and the crumbling brickwork, it's hard to imagine it as a school. But times changed and so did the building. The era of the industrial school was passing and the building was ready for the next chapter. The school closed in 1895. And then it became of civic importance, and later adopted as a labour exchange for the Ministry of Labour, a vital function during the economic turbulence of the interwars. Later still in the post-war era, it housed the council's own architectural services department. This period of school, the governor's office, showed just how adaptable the building was. It wasn't just a structure on a hill, but a constant presence in the civic life of Gateshead, changing its function to meet the needs of the time. By the end of the 20th century, the building was undergoing another transformation, the one that would define it for many of the current residents. As the new millennium dawned, the former school was converted into Windmill Hills Nursing Home. This change once again mirrored the needs of society. With an ageing population, the demand for residential care was growing. The building that had once been a place for young was now dedicated to the old. For several years in the early 2000s, it operated as a care home, providing a place of safety, support for the elderly residents and for the family who visited and staff who worked there. It was a place of compassion. The grand Victorian rooms that once echoed with the sounds of school children now offered quiet comfort. The nursing home closed in 2006, partially because of significant costs for the refurbishment as well, to bring the structure up to modern standards. Nobody knew it at the time, but the next chapter would be the most controversial yet. In 2007, the story of Windmill Hills took a sharp, unexpected turn. The vacant building was sold for reportedly £1.5 million to the Church of Scientology. The purchase was part of a global program to establish new grand religion centres around the world. And immediately they put in an application for planning, and it was submitted to Gateshead Council to convert the Grade 2 listed building into a place of worship and religious instructions. The plans were ambitious, detailing a full refurbishment plus extensions for a new chapel, cafe, offices and auditing room. The church even proposed that the cafe and public exhibition spaces would be open to the public alongside community events. The years that followed were not years of renovation, but years of silence and decay. As you can see, it's still boarded up, and the promised work never materialised. It was left at the mercy of the elements. And the planning permission was left to expire. It then became a bit of an eyesore and also a magnet for antisocial behaviour, vandalism and drug abuse. The Northumberland police had to step up patrols to tackle the problem. And it got so bad that in 2012 there was a big fire, which it had to be quickly renovated. In 2019, the Church of Scientology put in a fresh planning application, which was granted, but yet again, as the years passed, no progress, and the planning permission also expired. Put it back to a frustrating deadlock. Now, as we look through the lock gates, this Grade 2 listed landmark wasn't just a school or a care home. It was a reflection of how we treated our most vulnerable. It began as a place of harsh reform for children's society. We wanted to hide away, and it ended as a home for the elderly. That was ultimately cast aside. Now it's a ghost of itself, held captive in a state of perpetual decay by an organisation whose promises have turned to dust. The true horror of Windmill Hills isn't a ghost story, it's a documented history of forgotten people and the physical evidence of profound neglect. These walls don't just hold secrets, they scream a warning about what happens when we look the other way. And thanks for joining us. And if you like these sort of videos, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, give this video the thumbs up, hit that notification bell for more videos like this.